we will have a short while of warm-up, of course. You can see the clock counting down, and then we're into the action in this gold medal match. This is the path to the final, to the gold medal match for the Dutch pair, overcoming United States and Great Britain in the quarterfinal and the semi-final, and with some ease. Only 2 games against him in any particular set, and only having to bother with 2 sets in each of those matches.
And just noting that there, those were against high-quality players. David Wagner, multiple Paralympic medals, actually has in his entire career has never shown up to a Paralympics without winning a medal. This was actually his first year. So these guys had a tough draw. When that draw came out, I know that the Dutch team did not want to see that draw. And then everybody else that played against him didn't want to see it either.
Well, we always say, don't we, at each Paralympics there's a kind of changing of the guard, and these youngsters coming through, 21 and 18 years of age.
And world ranking for Sam, 6. Sam already has 19 doubles titles, 1 Grand Slam title, and actually French 20 with David Wagner. And then Niels, Vink, world ranking of number 5 with 17 titles, and 7 of those with Schröder. And actually, the year-end Masters Championships in 2019 with the person across the net, Heath Davidson.
And Vink, of course, in singles, also making his marks in semi-finals of both singles and doubles in Australia earlier this year. Bye for the first round, the quarter-final for the Australians, and then getting past the home hopes in the semi-finals. Had to battle in the second set, but again, a fairly easy passage through for them, and they will be champing at the bit to get this gold medal match underway. That's Sir Dylan Alcott, a 30-year-old from Melbourne. Where else would he be from?
Titles for Dylan Alcott, 30 titles, 8 of those are Grand Slams, including the 2016 Rio Gold with his partner.
It's a very long list of titles he's won. And Heath Davidson, 34, slightly less accomplished than his playing partner, but still very impressive. The gold, of course, in doubles in Rio. Made the quarterfinals in the singles, both here and in Rio. I'm their physio.
Heath Davidson also has 3 Grand Slam doubles titles, all in the Australian Open, with Mr. Alcott. 13 of his titles out of his 22 have come with Alcott. So again, these players are very familiar with each other. In a little bit, we'll go through the reason. The reason that Davidson, I think, only has 3 Grand Slams. Well, I know he only has 3, but the reason being is because of the way that the Grand Slams work with the entries. There's only 3 allowed in there's only a draw of 4. So only the top 3 players get into each Grand Slam, and then there's a wild card. So Heath Davidson has got the wild card in the Australian Open and taken advantage at that time. And then that's also the reason for Vink. He has yet to, his ranking's just below that entry, so he hasn't had the opportunities yet to play in those Grand Slams.
Yeah. Chicken and egg, isn't it? You've got to get yourself up there, but to get up there, you've got to be in these competitions. But if you've got the talent, you will get there.
And Sam Schröder's career, in all honesty, took off last year at the 2020 US Open when he received a wild card into the US Open, and he took full advantage. He won it, so that keeps him in.
Trains 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. You've got to put the effort in, haven't you, to get the reward out in any walk of life, but as much in this as anything else. Well, the preparations, the warm-up, all done and dusted. We're getting down to business now. It's the quad doubles gold medal match. Heath Davidson, Dylan Alcott of Australia against Sam Schröder and Niels Vink of the Netherlands.
First set, Niels Vink to serve. Ready. Play.
Good start.
15.
They'll be looking to start strong, put some pressure on the Australians. Good work from Vink. Busy around the court. Nice angled cross-court shot to open up the opportunity. And the Dutch pair have started well.
Dutch pair know it's very important to get a head start here because, as we've seen in the past with Alcott, when he gets on a roll, it's very hard to beat.
Well, they'll be happy with a game to love. Good work from Niels Vink. Man from Helmond gets his team the first game of this match.
There's always nerves in the first couple of games. You need to get, each one of the players need to really get a service game under their belt for them to just calm down a little bit and just understand where they are and to get the feel of the ball in the court. So sometimes the first 4 games can be a little dodgy with some unforced errors, but that was a really good game for the young Dutch team.
Noise from the stands indicates the Australians are back on the court, and it will be the man in the hat, Dylan Alcott, the superstar, to get their service game underway.
Good pushing there from the Australian team, especially Davidson. In doubles here, you will see that each player will try to figure out which is the weakest opponent, and they can really highlight the weakest opponent here. So you'll see one of the players get a lot of balls. I would say for the Dutch team, they're going to hit a lot more balls to Davidson just because he doesn't have quite as much power and as many weapons as Alcott does.
patient from the Australians. As we were discussing just before the point, the Dutch sending as many as they can returns to Davidson, but it was Alcott who helped fashion the end of that point.
He will, anytime he possibly can get a short ball or a ball that he can come forward on, he's definitely going to do that.
That's long. Well, so far in this match, those receiving in a game has not been able to fashion a point against serve. It's gone with serve exclusively. And that pattern continues.
For the Australian team, we say that the Dutch are going to try and pick a little bit more on Davidson because he doesn't have the weapon. The Dutch team is so formidable because you've got Vink, who has a few more weapons than Schröder, but Schröder's weapon is his consistency. So they've just got, it's going to be interesting to see how the Australians figure out their strategy, because you're going to have Schröder, who's got the consistency, but Vink's the dangerous one with a few more weapons in his arsenal.
How about that?
But then again, he can hit a backhand winner angle from 20 feet behind the baseline, so he can also create amazing angles.
Absolutely ripped it, didn't he? Alcott trying to give them an angle back as well, but just missing the line. And again, we're still waiting for those receiving to pick a point up against serve. Interesting, isn't it? We were talking about targeting Davidson, and Alcott had seen enough and went to intercept and did it very well. And there we are, our first point for the receivers of serve.
It's a great shot in doubles, regardless of what type of double this is, the middle of the court.
Chance to wrap up this game. It was long. He felt that the Dutch pair were just starting to turn the screws there, but an unforced error. And Alcott and Davidson with a sniff.
Schröder just panicking a little bit there. Davidson came forward, but Alcott hit a very, very deep ball, and Schröder just trying to do a little too much there because he saw Davidson coming in. And when you see someone coming in like that, you feel that you have to hit a better shot than what you do instead of just making the player play the ball.
Well, big point, this one. Oh, it's long.
Davidson very happy at this point in time just to stay back to try and create the opportunity for Alcott. One thing Alcott does really well is he times pushing in. So as a player playing against him, you take one last second look to see if he's coming in. And if he's not, you're putting it up. But that's when he sneaks in. So it's very difficult to see if he's sneaking in before you hit that ball. So you've already committed to it.
Well, he was poaching again, but it didn't work for the Australian, and it took a bit of work, but the Dutch hold their serve. 2-1 in their favour in this first set.
If you're just joining wheelchair tennis for the first time, the only difference on the rule side is the possibility of 2 bounces as we take a look at the rain coming down.
Oh dear, yeah, it was, sorry to interrupt, we were talking obviously about the rules, but it's been pouring in Tokyo, and then it got better, and the roof opened, and you might have seen Alcott just look up in the middle of the last match, and the last game rather, and just look at the sky and wonder, well, it's raining, but they're carrying on playing for the time being.
It looks very fine, so the very fine won't matter unless it keeps coming down, and as soon as the lines get slick is when they will stop play. And as I said, we are lucky here to have the roof with a retractable roof and climate control. So it takes about 8 to 10 minutes for that roof to close, if by any chance they do decide to close it if the rain gets heavier.
Heath, Davidson to serve.
Schröder going for a little too much.
Well, he came in, had the volley, couldn't make it. Just to check the weather forecast. It says it's going to be dry, and there you go. Hopefully it will abate.
Just a little deep. Talking about 2 bounces. The players do get 2 bounces. That's the only rule difference if they so desire. They don't have to take it. They will use it. But the pace of the ball, usually they are getting it in the 1.
Shout of "come on, baby," like that one.
This is where Alcott really, really thrives on this audience, and unfortunately, due to obvious circumstances, we don't have it, so he creates it himself. We saw that in his singles last night.
I think his entourage will make as much noise as possible as well.
So in that game there, we actually saw Alcott what we consider serve and volleying. It wasn't, even though Alcott wasn't serving, Davidson was. But while he served, Alcott was moving forwards. And that really does put pressure on the returner because they know they can't hit it straight at Alcott, or they think they can't. That's the pressure that's put on because they think otherwise they're going to have an easy volley. So they definitely changed up the strategy a little bit there. Now, we haven't seen, that was only Davidson's first service game, so that may be going forwards. But I would imagine that's their strategy. Alcott and Davidson, they need to come forwards, and Alcott needs to put off the young Dutch players to put them under pressure.
It's interesting. Davidson's given up powerlifting. He said it was slowing his serve. He targeted some stretching to loose the shoulder muscles. You reckon he's got an extra 15 Ks in his pocket now?
Again, there's that strategy. And he's 100% right. The tennis players, you see a lot of tennis players get real buff up top, and then that muscle actually slows their racket head speed down. They have to be strong, but it's the speed of the racket going through the ball that actually generates all the pace. So if they're too muscular, then they don't have the racket head speed.
Oh, it's fabulous. Great angle.
Second time we've seen that angle from Schröder. He likes that shot there for sure. And the amount of power that he can get there. You see, that's why he let the ball bounce twice there, because he wanted to let the ball drop into his strike zone to be able to generate that spin.
Had some ground to make up. Couldn't quite get the forehand right. And they've had to battle in the last couple of service games, the Dutch pair. Could we have our first break here? They've got a bit of work. A little bit tucked up, wasn't he, for that shot? And we have our first break points of this match.
It's actually quite common in wheelchair tennis to get broken. It's actually almost the other way around. You want to try and win your return games. So this is actually a little bit abnormal with the amount of serves being held so far in this first set.
Well, they're certainly pumped up, aren't they, the Australians? And then they have the first break of this match. And they have the advantage in this first set. In this quad doubles gold medal. A bit more measured conversation from the Dutch pair.
Really, the Dutch just need to stop the unforced errors. They had a couple of unforced errors in that last game.
Time.
And it's Alcott who will get us back underway in this first set with the advantage. All the time in the world to get there, but she could only put it in the net. And it is that hulking presence of Alcott coming to the net that can really put you off.
He gets so many balls back too. They're both really quick, these guys, so it just really puts a lot of pressure on the young Dutch here. He wasn't going to make a mistake that time, Vink.
15.
Well, for the first time in this match almost, they were returning back to Alcott. When they tried to switch, the net was not their friend.
Again, Alcott pushing forwards, just pushing them off somewhat. Need to settle down a little bit here, and they need to start thinking about even lobbing as Alcott's coming in.
Oh, clever. Well, they defended well and then put Alcott under a bit of pressure.
That's exactly correct. All they did there was make an extra ball, and they hit that ball up, and that's what's so difficult for the chairs when they come in to be able to stop, and you can't go backwards, so that's why the lob becomes so effective.
And that's a really difficult shot to play. The ball angled into the wheels, really.
Yeah, Alcott was somewhat slow coming in, so got caught in no man's land.
First break point for the Dutch to level it up at 3 apiece. That's a hurry. A little bit of miscommunication between the two Dutch, but didn't he get there well, Schröder? And what a well-placed shot it was.
That was a difficult shot because Davidson actually had a bunch of backspin on that ball, so when it hit, it actually went back towards the net. Schröder did really well to get up to that and just calm down when he got there and go through the middle.
Getting there's only half the battle. The rain, the elements are not our friend today in Tokyo. More rain falling. Little look towards the chair umpire from the Australian pair. And we are continuing at the moment.
The Australians want the roof closed. That's what they're asking for. The Dutch team really want to play.
And it's a big moment for Kanuka Ota, who has to make the decision.
So the referee would also be included. You see the referee walking out on the court on the left side, Ian Smith. It's one of the referees here in Tokyo. What will happen now is that all of a sudden the stadium actually goes dark. As soon as the roof starts closing, the lights turn off, and then it'll take about 8 minutes for that roof to close. Again, he's talking to the Dutch pair because the Dutch pair don't really want the roof closed at this point. They want to keep playing. They've gotten into a good rhythm here. They're starting to feel comfortable, and now they're going to have a few-minute break.
And we are almost ready to go. Our minions have disappeared. I hope they can take some space in the stands to watch what unfolds.
What happens when it happens where the rain comes through and they have a break, they do take the balls and they put them on one side. Usually if there's a break that lasts a certain amount of time, there should be a warm-up, but they just said no warm-up. So it's within the time block, which I believe was 15 minutes. So it may have been 14 minutes and 59 seconds. For the time there, I didn't time it, so there is no warm-up. So they just took the balls that they were using, and they will use those balls again.
Speedy from the organisers. The match and the set already at 24 minutes. It's 3 apiece. Finally poised. A couple of breaks in the last couple of games. And the players will hate the disruption. They just want to get on with it. Chair umpire is prowling. She's not back up in her seat yet. Making sure everything is right, in its right place.
See Alcott just rolling around a little bit, trying to get himself warmed up. They did have that 15-minute break, so they cooled down somewhat. So smart idea from the Australians to move around. The cooling system they've been using, where they've got a black tube that comes out of a ice cooler, just sends cool air out to help the players regulate their body temperature.
Kinuka Ota is back in the chair, and we are back in business. Line judges march back into place, and as if it never happened. The rain is now being repelled by the roof that is closed over us, and we will get down to business. Schröder with the ball in hand. Tried it on the volley, into the net. Good start from the Dutch pair. Oh, great placement. Great anticipation as well as where the ball was coming. And he had a bit of time just to think where he's going to place that. Nice from Niels Vink, the youngest man on the court at 18 years of age. And another rasping cross-court backhand.
He will take it. That's his third backhand. Like that one, just let double bounce, and the angle he's able to create from there is pretty phenomenal.
Well, too easy.
A little bit of cat and mouse there. Alcott with the massive slice cut that pulled into the body of Vink, and Vink just could not do enough with that next ball.
All the experience of the double Paralympic gold medalist from Rio.
Great shot from Vink there, noticing that it's actually set up by Schröder on the last ball, and it gave Vink the easier ball, and he used the power just to go right at Alcott, and Alcott just not able to control the ball.
And they lead by 4-3 in the first set of this gold medal match. Couple of breaks, one apiece for these two teams. He's been keeping himself warm and limbered up with a little bit of towel work.
Everyone getting in on the action there. The ITF ladies that work in wheelchair tennis in on it. Have to do whatever it takes to get the play back on the court.
Holding their own, aren't they, against this experienced pair?
They've been doing a little more than holding their own.
Fine.
And they'll be looking to take what they can from Heath Davidson's serve here as well.
Good serve into the body. Davidson has caught Vink a couple times with that serve into the body. His slice serving into the tee, which then comes to the body of Vink, and Vink just not able to control it, catching that return very late.
Alcott liked it.
13.
Good job was his prognosis.
Beautiful inside-out forehand there by Vink, and he decided to take that one there, that ball, and he comes right across because he's going to look to get around it and to be able to create that angle off his forehand.
Alcott was just a spectator as it flew past him.
Schröder's not going to be happy with those two misses. Very just unforced errors. No need to go for that. Just there, just put it in. Try and set up the point.
Oh, what a point. A point of touch rather than power. And Alcott once again showing whatever you can do, I might just be able to do it a little bit better.
That was a great pickup by Vink. I mean, it just kissed the top of the net and went over, but Alcott was able to create a beautiful angle. Vink right here, just really soft, just touches the net, but got to it, and just nice soft angle. It's beautiful.
Might have been a winner but for the net cord. Four apiece then. Still nothing between these two pairs of players here.
That drop shot worked that time.
Wasn't put off from trying that little deft dink over the net. He's such a good player, Niels Vink. What a prospect for the future, let alone now.
Beautiful.
He's having a productive spell at the net at the moment.
One of the things with wheelchair tennis that you'll see more than with standing doubles is in tennis is the communication between the two players, and that is because both are staying back most of the time. So in standing tennis, when you've got one up at the net, if the person at the net doesn't get it, the person at the baseline has to. But the communication here is imperative of who's going to get it and for what reasons, and they're doing it based on their strengths also. Good solid serve by Vink.
3 points to make it 5-4 in this first set.
Beautiful.
Lots of spin on that one. It was a real point of get there if you can.
Come on, mate, up. Good job. Here we go, baby.
See the spin on that. That just, he cut on the inside of it too, so when it bounced, it just went way off to the right.
Academic though, because he finishes with an ace.
5 games to 4.
And it is the Dutch who lead in this first set. 5 games to 4.
Dutch team doing a really good job of, I mean, the shot from Davidson before was amazing and having really good rallies, but then Vink able to come up to a serve, refocus, and make a serve that's unreturnable. It's really good mental toughness. I think it actually helped last night, the match with his singles match with Alcott, because he was dealing with this same thing. He dealt with the energy of Alcott and the mental side of the game, where Alcott was really taking his time and then also trying to get himself pumped up and get the crowd pumped up. And so today he's used to it. He's out there. He knows he's expecting it, and he's going to be okay with it today. Plus he has a partner out there to talk to him.
And knowing what athletes are like, it's like, okay, let's forget about what happened yesterday. Let's rewrite a bit of history here. Let's get my revenge here in the doubles. These athletes are not here without a bit of mental toughness, that's for sure. Niels Vink, by the way, his journey to the Paras is via London. Went to the London Para Games with his mum when he was young. Knew he wanted to do it, tried many sports, he said, but only one did I fall in love with. And If it works and it feels right, it normally is right.
Tried to wait for that second bounce again, tried for that backhand, but that backhand was inside out this time, so he had to, and trying to create that angle, very difficult shot to hit.
Thanks, brother.
There's a lot of noise on the court. These players geeing each other up and themselves. That's long.
15-13.
Well, the next point is a massive one.
The door is open just slightly. There's a crack in the door.
And it is long again.
15-14.
2 set points for Schröder and Vink. Tried to give it a bit of extra power, but pushed it long.
13-14.
And interestingly enough, this is how important this first set is. In each of their last 4 matches, the team that has won the first set has won the match. They haven't won it in straight sets, but they have won the match.
Oh, and it's long, it's long. So 2 set points saved. Into the net, and with 2 set points saved, they now have a chance to make it 5 apiece.
Correction mark is good. First set.
Overall from the chair umpire.
The Dutch okay with that? I think they knew it was in.
That's definitely out. 3rd set point.
Advantage, Schröder.
A couple of unforced errors in this game from Davidson, especially off the forehand side, both of them long.
Alcott shouting it's juice to the chair umpire, who corrected herself.
Not a great time for a double fault.
First of the match.
Not a great time for the Aussies, but a great time for the Dutch team. They'll take it.
Yes.
They're going to take it. They're not going to say there's never not a bad time for them.
And that has gone long, and the first set goes the way of the Netherlands. And Vink and Schröder with a yell of delight. Oh, what an important point that was. (6-4) then. Schröder and Vink get over the line in this first set, but there's still some way to go in this gold medal match.
Alcott taking a bathroom break. Someone has to go with him. If you look at set one stats, really solid match from each of the players here. But the actual, if you look at the bottom right with the total winners of 10, and if you look at total points won, which is not on here, it's 30-27. So really the aggression from the Dutch really paid off. And the first serve percentage from both teams was really high, and their first serve percentage was super high.
Was it 90% in from the Australian in the first serve?
And if you've got you always want to have more winners than unforced errors. If you're in the red, you're going to be in trouble, and that was really the difference. The Vink and Schröder were just a tad more aggressive, and on the important points too. That was that beautiful slice inside out.
Well, they wrapped it up eventually. Needed 3 set points to do that. That was a fabulous last game, actually. Lots of touch tennis. Nice to watch. Exhausting to play, you'd have thought, when you're bursting your lungs to get to that second bounce. Alcott is back.
Just take a second and think about this first Paralympic experience for the Dutch team. You mentioned earlier that Vink went in 2012 to London Games, and everyone has a story. I'm a firm believer in every single person has a story. Whoever we are, it doesn't matter whether you're in a chair or whether you're standing, it makes no difference. But I know for these two young Dutch players, their first Paralympics, going to see somebody in 2012 for Vink, Schröder having his issues as well with cancer in 2018 and having to take time off and coming back and playing. I just know how both of the parents must feel as well. They're both so proud of these youngsters, and I'm sure as well the same goes for every player, but especially in your first Paralympics at such a young age. And Alcott felt that when he was playing basketball in his first Paralympics back in 2008, I believe it was, maybe 2004. But I know that there's an immense amount of just respect for all of these players. But for your first Paralympics, and you've just won the first set, and you're a set away from a gold medal, what an amazing accomplishment. It
is astonishing. You did allude to the colon cancer that Schröder was diagnosed in with just 18 years of age. A lot of surgery, back playing within 4 weeks, but a bit of a setback with the chemo radiation treatment. He was the junior #1, senior #8 in the world. It's been a long road back, but this, if I can mix my metaphors, is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's been a long, hard road, but this is a moment, whatever happens, he will cherish.
I know the family of Schröder as well, they must look back at those moments, what they went through 3 years ago, and just find it extra special.
Yep. I'm sure they would love to be in the stands cheering him on. They will be watching this, I am sure. And you mentioned Alcott's basketball, wheelchair basketball, Sugeno, well, gold in Beijing, silver in London, and a World Championship gold as well. So he's an all-round package. Second set then. The Dutch with the advantage in this gold medal match. Great serve.
15.
Not quite an ace, but it does the job. Oh, well, he took a long time to wind up, and that was a little bit wild from the Australian.
And here Alcott telling Davidson, I believe in you, man, you got it. Just trying to instill that confidence to get through another 2 sets that would be needed here.
Yeah, down the line, all the time in the world to line that one up.
40.
Schröder did some great work at the baseline.
That backhand.
It's a weapon, isn't it?
It is. Big, big weapon. Didn't need to hit a winner there, but it's just able to get so much spin on that when it hits, it's really kicking off the court. That was a really good first game in the second set for the Dutch team.
Mr. Alcott is challenging call on the right service line. Double called out.
First official review. And it is officially out.
Just want to tell you guys this, your match will come on.
Split down the middle with that. Mighty,
15.
deep and well placed. Fabulous point. Oh, what a lovely point to watch as a neutral. You probably wouldn't enjoy it if you're Australian.
Mr. Alcott, Mr. Davidson.
Great work from Niels Vink at the net.
Dutch team playing with a massive amount of confidence.
Well, it was going well for the Dutch until they got Schröder onto the forehand.
Those are the type of points that really fire up Alcott. He gets excited, he gets energized from that. And they need to get energized if they want to stay in this second set.
On the forehand. What you heard them say before that point, brick wall, and it kept coming back.
Another point just like the previous point. Very long Alcott fashion, getting that one extra ball back.
How about that? Fabulous finesse. We've been talking all this time about the backhand of Schröder. That wasn't a bad forehand.
No, he very much let that ball get behind him and then just whipped his chair around, but took enough pace on to control it.
It was close. It wasn't a bad return, but small margins. Big outcomes. Went for the big shot, didn't work, and it was a bit of a wobble, but the Australians come firing back.
Let's have some fun, brother. This is good, yeah? Come on, mate, let's enjoy it. Great job. Come on.
Well, the Dutch and the Australian contingent in the stands making their voices heard in what will be another tight set. After a rain delay here in Tokyo, we are enthralled by this contest. And there's that backhand. Whatever you do, don't put it on his backhand. That's what, the fourth time he's done
it is. It's number 4.
Yeah, I think so.
4.
It's the angle, isn't it? Just loves it.
And the height he's hitting it is amazing. Above the around the shoulders, to be able to get that much pace and angle from that height. Oh, that was a beautiful topspin forehand from Vink. He had a lot of spin on it, just came down. But immediately Alcott asked for the challenge because it was called in.
It looked right on the line, but our vantage point is not this vantage point. Oh, right on the line.
So in tennis, if the ball is 99.9% out, it's 100% in.
Davidson have one challenge remaining.
That was not quite. That was 50-50, but.
Well, their service games have been strong, haven't they, so far in this second set? So far, the narrative continues. Alcott still muttering away, pumping up Davidson and vice versa. Much more the vocal pair of these two teams.
Beautiful serve, really handcuffing Alcott.
2-1.
Hooping in to the Australian. 2-1 then in favour of the Dutch.
This is your first time watching wheelchair tennis. One of the big differences is the movement of how the players move. In standing tennis, the only time you ever turn your back to the court is when you're running down a lob. But if you watch the players and spend a couple of minutes, a couple points in the next few games, you're seeing all the players, when they push forwards, they don't just stop and backpedal because they just lose their momentum. They actually hit, they keep going, and they come back around and they do a figure-8 movement. So after I shouldn't say every single, after 90% of the shots, they're actually turning their back on the court and they're looking over their shoulder. And it's, for anyone that has played tennis standing and then gets in a chess play, that's one of the most awkward things to do, because you just don't do that. It's not natural. But this is why the movement is so important, and when you see it, you'll see them do the figure-8 movement, and then they'll take a big loop around to come back to recover too, because they need to keep that momentum going.
Almost balletic, isn't it? The movement around the courts.
And they're doing it, if you notice, there's a lot of movement going on even when they're not hitting. So Alcott, after every shot, he's not hitting, and he's not hitting a lot of them because a lot are going to Davidson. He's doing that movement too. He's looking to push forwards. He comes up to the net. He can't get it. He comes back around, and then he's pushing forward again. He didn't need to recover on that one. That was what would be the typical serve and volley. He comes in as Davidson hits a serve, comes in again to put pressure on the returner.
Didn't catch it right, didn't make it over the net. Schröder and Vink with a foothold in this game. Well, they had to work hard. Backs to the wall defence from the Australians, but the Dutch pair got there eventually.
Again, using the full court, using the angles, and then also using all different kinds of spin.
Oh dear. The point was set up.
30.
Would have given them a couple of break points. Wasn't to be. Just tucked him up. It's that backhand again from Schröder.
30-40.
Super heavy balls, super racket speed that creates that amount of pace on the ball, really pushing Davidson back.
Chance to break then, to make it 3-1. Oh, well, it was nicely weighted by Davidson. And they've saved that break point. Can they push on from here? Lovely shot from Alcott.
Alcott knows how important this game is.
Davidson.
Not done just yet.
Maintain this level, baby. Come on. Good job.
Maintain the level is the call from the 30-year-old. And they are, if not anything, they are resilient, the Dutch pair, and they have got it back to juice.
Again, in the middle of that rally there, Vink with a really good angle that pulled Alcott so far off the court, and Alcott's just able to take that ball, not really turn it into offense, but definitely counterattack it and restart the point. That's why they're having to work so hard for every single point, the Dutch are.
Oh dear. Never a good time to serve a double, but this is a particularly bad time.
Bad toss. The only shot in tennis, the only time in tennis you can say, nah, I don't want to hit it. And you don't have to hit it. You can just wait till you get the right shot. You can't do that in a rally. I mean, it'd be nice.
Wouldn't it? Oh, it's long.
He knows, he saw that. He actually missed about 2 of those last night in his singles match. He knows that. The reason he misses that is because he gets his backswing too big. He doesn't need to. He just needs to keep the hands right out in front and just block it. But his racket went too far back, so he catches it late.
What a big moment in the match that might well be. Battering down the middle, the Dutch.
Advantage, Schröder.
And it has reaped its rewards. Another break point in this crucial 4th game of the 2nd set. into the net again. Great placement from Davidson. Oh, this is a marathon. Well, it's a marathon game. It may turn into a marathon match. Let's see if somebody can get over the line here.
Wow.
Would have been an amazing return. Great from the Dutch. Here we go again.
Davidson did an amazing job even getting his racket on that and then just missing the baseline. That was a good push to get to that.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot to wrap up that break of serve. Goodness me. Pinpoint. And there is the break. They lead 3-1 in the second set and by 1-0.
That was a really important game for both players, both teams.
Schröder, Vink lead. 3-1.
But mentally for the Dutch, they were up in it, had lots of chances, so they didn't want to lose that. And that last backhand was just a lack of communication by the Aussies. Alcott went and he thought he had Davidson behind him, but not so much. Not sure why Davidson's going off the court. Not supposed to go off the court unless it's a set break, but it's not even a changeover at this point.
Well, the cynics amongst you may suggest is to break the momentum of the Dutch. They don't seem too bothered.
Nope. I think they're a little bit used to it. Had a couple breaks, and definitely Vink was used to it. I would say that being cynical that it would be a opportunity to try and do that, but he could have just needed to use the restroom.
Absolutely. You benefit of the doubt time, I think. It's gone very quiet around this arena as we wait. The Australians in the stands and usually quiet, but it'll liven up once the action gets underway again.
Alcott's going to do everything he can to pump up himself and his partner. It's on the brink, so they definitely need to stop pumping themselves up.
Have we reached a tipping point? And are we witnessing a changing of the guard with the 21-year-old and the 18-year-old coming and taking gold from the pair that won it in Rio? We'll see. Plenty of life left in this match.
The Dutch team playing a much tighter match, more controlled. They're in the positive in the green here with 16 winners and 10 unforced errors, with the Australian 6 total winners and 13 unforced errors. So that is definitely something that the Australian team needs to tighten up if they want to get it back and get this match into a third set.
Rather belatedly, we've got some music in the arena as we wait for Heath Davidson to re-emerge. Not sure if somebody goes with him into the changing room. We didn't see anyone dive in after him, but
they usually, that's by the rules, they have to, so probably one of the Alliance people behind the camera did just run out with him.
Here he is, whizzing back. Quick time to the cheers of the Australian contingent in the stadium. The hour is getting late, but the enthusiasm has not waned. unmistakable in that eye-catching Australian uniform. And you can sense the coaches, the other athletes, the support staff up there doing everything they can to get their Australian pairing back into this match. They're going to have to do it the long way if they are to do it. 1 set down already, 1-3 down. It's been a hard shift for Davidson, who's been targeted by the Dutch pair. Vink to serve then. 3-1 up in this second set. Good start.
That serves caused Davidson all sorts of problems, and one into the body.
Great point, great couple of points from Vink. Split the Australians first off and then exploited the gap that he'd created. Ripped the forehand. Oh, just magnificent.
Beautiful touch, Vink pumping himself up there, taking a page from Mr. Alcott's book. Great awareness on the court from Vink, really being aware of where his, not only he is, but where his opponents are.
Well, it was a little wild from Alcott, but it's great pressure and great serving. And that really was a Niels Vink game. And the Dutch looking good in this second set. Leading 4-1 in the second, winning the first 6-4. Schröder and Vink.
They're just too strong for the Aussies at this point in time. Those winners, big difference.
Combined age of 39. Amazing. Such lovely touches as well as the power. You've got the that really powerful whip backhand from Schröder, but Vink, those little touches like that. I love the way he just wheeled around to see his work, just dinking over the other side of the net.
Dutch have always had a strong presence, especially on the women's side. They're very, very strong presence on the women's side. They've also had strong presence on the men's side. And now the future is very bright for the Dutch in the quad division also.
Right idea.
15.
Just couldn't land it inside the trail line. Oh yeah, looked for all the world like Schröder was going down the line.
15.
So the Australians the dummy.
Talking about the Dutch, the shrink and vote, Schröder and Vink, excuse me, changing the front part of the names there, are bidding to become the first Dutch players to win a Paralympic gold medal in the quad category division.
It's just long.
That
Just
was
long.
very close.
30, 15.
They're certainly going for their shots, the Dutch pair.
The Aussies are not going away without a fight. This is where the experience comes in.
Experience, game management, calmness under pressure.
Big serve.
Yeah, the odd bullet serve as well.
New balls, please. Schröder lead 4 games to 2.
Certainly not all over yet, but Schröder and Vink still with that break advantage. 4-2 up in the second. Well, return
15.
from Davidson. Very long. Couple of shots now from Vink. Not quite as he would have liked them. That purple patch of touch tennis from him. Not quite continuing at the moment. Need to up the intensity perhaps a little bit, the Dutch pair. High balls being sent long. Question of who could keep being accurate. Big point for Schröder and Vink, and they'll want to follow it up here. Well, miscommunication from the Dutch pair.
Vink just not doing enough with that, and we've seen Alcott numerous times, instead of backing up and hitting that as a forehand, takes it as an overhead.
Well, a chance for the Australians to break back. Worked hard for that point. Talked about
40-30.
the amount of movement before you even hit the ball. It's like a tip of an iceberg, isn't it, the actual shot? And they covered the court well there. A chance to make it 5-2. That's an excellent return from Dylan Alcott.
Yes.
Really deep, causing problems.
Good job, Heath. Use your words, baby. Use your words. Here we go.
Wow, great forehand. It was interesting, the point before Alcott said to Davidson, use your words. And I was actually trying to figure out what he meant by that. And what it was is the communication during the point. If you heard them at that point, Alcott was yours, mine the whole time, because I think they've had that breakdown of communication.
I've got to be honest with you, I thought he said use your worms. I was trying to work that one out. I think your explanation is a little bit more sensible.
Schröder panicking just a tad, just a tad. Didn't need to do so much. Volley was a good volley, but not a pressure volley.
Back to juice we go.
Let's first.
Just must have just brushed the net. Very slightest of contacts. You heard the beep though. That was slightly more vigorous encounter with the net. Well, the backhand has been great for Schröder up to now, but that wasn't so good. And a chance to break back for Alcott and Davidson.
Seventh game in each set is the most important game of the set. And this, you can tell why. 5-2 or 4-3, massive difference within confidence, within the score. 5-2, one game away, 4-3, and you've been 4-2. So important point.
He tried to do something spectacular and it didn't work. And after hanging in that game, they've managed to break. What a big point that was, and what a big game that was in the context of this match.
The great get by Vink, just a fantastic, and then had the, it was actually a very difficult shot. That lob came over his left side, and we've talked about it's very difficult to maneuver back and stop. You're going forwards to put the brakes on and then stop. they don't have time, so he actually had to play that behind him, but just went for too much of an angle there.
The kangaroo is bouncing again. And that was a much better game from this pair. They always talk a good game, of course, you can hear them at all times. But that was much, much better. A bit more energy, a bit more positivity. And it'll be interesting to see how Schröder and Vink react to that. They're much quieter of these two pairs. Can they break back again? Strong play from the baseline from the Dutch pair.
As I said, obviously, if it's 5-2, it's a little easier to close it out, but still very difficult to close it out. Doesn't mean to say if you're 5-2 up, you are going to close it out.
Nicely done. Previous shot from the Dutch set it up. It was nicely dispatched. Well, what a comeback. After being broken, they now have 3 break points.
Schröder did a really good job there of not panicking. I thought he was going to go for the lob, but was just able to roll it, and Alcott not able to do anything that time with the low volley.
Heavy on the forehand. One of those break points saved. And there's the second one saved. Is there momentum shifting the other way? Goodness me, what a battle this second set has become. Wonderful point put together from Schröder and Vink. It took a while, but they got there, and they lead in this second set by 5-3 and will serve for the gold medal.
Very solid game from the Dutch team.
They have worked hard, but they have not been lucky. They have been very, very clever in their play, and they have worked over the experienced Australians. Don't expect the Australians to roll over, though.
Love 15.
Just going wide. Schröder unleashing the old backhand anyway. Oh, that backhand did count. That's gone wide, and they're on the brink, the Dutch pair.
14-15.
2 gold medal points for Schröder and Vink.
Such a good game, kept themselves calm. Played very solid in this game.
Wild serve. Not happy with the toss for the second time.
Good for him not to hit it either. There it is.
It's gold for the Netherlands. It's gold for the youngsters. Sam Schröder and Niels Vink take the gold in the quads double. And what a victory for them.
What a special moment for these 2 young players, and what a bright future each one of them have.
Sporting from the Australians, the gold medalists in Rio relinquishing their title. Hugs at the net after an enthralling encounter. Straight sets win though for Schröder and Vink, and they always look the most likely to triumph here.
And those smiles say everything. First Paralympics for these 2, and a gold medal in the doubles. They played a solid match.
Schröder, of course, with a chance to take a singles title as well when he meets Dylan Alcott in that final, but they won't worry about that just yet. For them, get the flags, get that photo opportunity, and a little bit later, get that gold medal. Wonderful for those 2, and spare a thought for Davidson and Alcott. Played with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. It wasn't to be. They take the silver, and it is Schröder and Vink who can revel in the moment. They are the gold medalists here in Tokyo.
What a proud moment for them, wrapped in their flags. Their first Paralympics and their first gold medal, and probably a lot more to come for this young pair from the Dutch team.
A few what-ifs for this Dutch team. What about Niels Vink? What if Mum hadn't decided against going to the London Paralympics? Would he have had the spark, the thought? And as for Schröder, the man who in the last 3 years has had to battle cancer, well, this is just such a marvellous outcome for him. You can't help but feel delighted that they will be on the top step of the podium. Big smiles for two players with big hearts.
then you use squeegees or something that